Yeah, yo, 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 it's Ugly Truck Driver. How the flock are you? Well, I'm sitting out here in the sun enjoying it. It's going to be Friday and it's going to go to 60 today here. Woo! Gets much warmer to be bathing suit weather. I was sitting here musing. You get old, you start thinking about memories of your past life and shit. And I was talking with one of the guys here, he's a cook. And shit just keeps coming back from years gone by. And I was talking about me, my dad, and all that good shit. And, I ended up spending some time in Germany, staying with my dad, and came back to the United States. And I enlisted in the military. I got in a fight with Mom. I said, fuck this. I joined the military's basic training at Fort Dix. AIT at Fort Dix, that's truck mechanic stuff. And then down to Fort Knox for tanks. And when we got done down there, they says, well, where do you want to be assigned to? We'll send you there. Well, I said, I want to go to Germany. So what do? They send me to South Korea. Oh, Jesus. What a fucking mess. I got over there and I was in the 73rd Armor up in Daejeon, South Korea, about 15 miles off the border from North Korea. And I hooked up with this guy that, let's just say he's a loser. He's been from private E2 to Spec 5 and back down again so many times. He don't even keep patches on his shoulders. His name's Cliff Snyder. Funny guy, redneck. And one day we were sitting there. We went into the EM club. And we got about half snockered. What's he do? He goes down to Motor Pool and steals a Jeep. And we go riding downtown to Daejeon. And we're sitting there, we're wrecked. We're just totally baked. And we're hanging out in this club, and all of a sudden this 300-pound MP comes in, takes a look at us. And I learned one thing real fast. Never take a swing on a 300-pound MP. He damn near put me through the fucking wall. Honest to God. So needless to say, I ended up in a Korean jail, stripped naked, cold weather, and all of a sudden, my company commander, Captain Black, shows up to bail me out. And he says, we will talk in the morning. And the following morning, my drill sergeant, Sergeant Washington, big black guy, says, I'm going to put you in Ascom City. That's the big jail down there in Seoul. I said, oh, fuck. Here I go. So I got to go have a meeting with Captain Black. And I walk in there. I knew my ass was in a bind. And he sat there and he says, we could put you in jail and give you a dishonorable discharge for this shit. I says, I'm young and dumb and full of cum. He kind of laughed at that. He says, I was an E2 at the time, so what are you going to bust me to, E1? And I says, look, send me to Vietnam, because I knew my ass is cooked if I stay here. So they give me 30 days leave, sent me back to the States. I get back to the States on 30 days leave. Everybody I know is gone. Everybody's, in the military, gone, wherever, they moved away. Dead, who the hell knows? That was the most boring 30 days I spent in my life. At the end of the 30 days, my mom runs me down to Newark, down there to the airport, and I catch a prop plane, and we fly from there to Omaha, refuel, fly to San Francisco, refuel, fly to Hawaii, refuel, fly to Japan for a moment, refuel, and then into South Korea. And I get off the plane down there, and I get assigned to, B Company, 2nd and 47th Mech Infantry. And what we used to do, basically, is we did road patrol. We'd go from Saigon to Bien Hoa, down to Vung Tau and back. We'd sit on bridges and shoot at shit floating down the river and see if it explodes. We're sitting there on the Saigon River one day, and I'm sitting there reading Playboy, and I'm hearing this vip, 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 and I'm looking at it like, what kind of big-ass fly is this? Sergeant in the next track it hollers out, he says, get down, you dumb bastard, they're shooting at you. And I just dropped down inside the track, and then I popped back up, and I racked back on the 50, and I start letting it fly. Now, I don't know much about a 50 other than here's the butterfly, push, and it goes boom. When Madhu speaks, everybody listens. Now, I let a bunch of rounds float across the Saigon River. They were bouncing off the water and into the low grass along the edges. And in about 2-3 minutes, everything went quiet over there. And everybody got a laugh. And I get done, and all of a sudden, I'm shaking like a motherfucker. It just hit me. What the hell just happened? I dropped the back door of the track. I'm sitting on the edge, and I'm trying to light a cigarette. And my hands are shaking so bad I can't make the fucker light. And the sergeant in the next track is laughing his ass off at me. So I'm sitting there, and I'm saying, Jesus Christ, what the fuck else can go wrong? Well, I got orders transfer over to D Troop 17th Armored Cav, 199th Infantry Brigade. It's an armored unit. And I got sent over there. And I was there for a while. Then my dad's unit from Fort Benning, Georgia got shipped over. He was an ops sergeant now, after the divorce and all that. He was, during World War II, he was a fighter pilot flying out of England, escorting bombers into France in a P-47. But now, after the divorce, he's a E7. He finds out he and I are both in country. He comes and picks me up, takes me over to the NCO club. We all get about half lit. And I said, Dad, I says, World War II was yours. This one's mine. Why don't you take leave? Because you're not supposed to have two people in the same family in country in a combat situation. He says, yeah, we'll get it handled. Next thing you know, I get orders. Right back to South Korea. He's laughing his ass off. I get shipped right back to Korea. And I ended up in the 7th S&T Battalion at Camp Casey. And I'm sitting there, I'm cussing him out 6 ways from Sunday. He's laughing his ass off. Well, then Ted Offensive hit, and he was over there, and he said fucking Gooks had everything lined up on mortars, and they were just walking mortars right down the chopper pad, taking out the choppers. He didn't know which way to run or shit or go blind. I says, taught you son of a bitch. He says, I'll kick your fucking ass. So I got there, and I was working down the motor pool. I was a driver and all that in B Company, and I was not happy. I told the sergeant, I says, man, I don't care if you put me in Ascom City. I says, this shit sucks. Well, I don't know if it was the grace of God or what. Battalion commander, he's a new guy, is looking for a driver. Word filters down, and next thing you know, I get called up to battalion headquarters. And I'm saying, oh, fuck, what did I do now? And I walk in, Private Brockner reporting as ordered, sir. And William R. Huggins. He kind of looks like MacArthur. Smokes a pipe, little pot belly and all that. He's a hell of a nice guy. He says, I need a driver. You look like you'd fit the bill. He says, your military background, military family, I like that. So, all of a sudden now, I'm the battalion commander's driver. And with that comes 24-hour pass in my back pocket. Anytime the colonel needs to go somewhere, I got to drive him there, out on field maneuvers and everything else. And sometimes we go down to Seoul for military shit. And I drive him down, drive him back. And on my time off, I'd go down to the village, and I bumped into a lady named Cho Che-hee, who I fell in love with. And I was very involved with her. Evidently, the military don't like that. All of a sudden, I'm getting my pass pulled. I don't like that. And one night, about 4 of the track whores out there to come to the front gate of the compound and saying, "Get Brockner, get Brockner, get Brockner." And evidently, what had happened is my lady friend, who was pregnant with our child at the time, had passed away. She's only like 21. And I sat there and I said, I walked in a battalion headquarters. I said, "Give me my fucking pass. I'm going to the village." I went down to the village. The doctor that handles all this shit takes me upstairs, and there she is. She's laid out in a kimono, dress kimono, colder than shit. And I broke down and I howled. It was said that I howled so loud you could hear it throughout the village. Well, after that, I kind of crawled into the bottle for a while, if you know what I mean. Thank God for the guy that works in headquarters that handles all the documented stuff. He sits there and he says, "Look, we're going to move you over here to MTPO, Motor Transport Office. Let you get your shit together." By now, I had gone through E4, made Division Soldier of the Month, and I was now an E5, Spec 5. So I ran MTPO. There's supposed to be a first lieutenant running it and a staff sergeant. I'm the only person in it. And what we do is we set up schedules for B Company to supply deuce and a half trucks throughout the division as needed. My job was to line them up every day, see who needs what, whatever else. And I spent the rest of my time there doing that until I ETS'd out and came back to the United States. And that was pretty much my life. But I was still pretty well drinking. And I was home about a year, and I finally said, "Fuck this, I don't need this bottle." And I finally went and sobered up. But that was my military service. I was no hero. I promise you that. And I lost a good friend over there, Clyde Owenby, Spec 4, was the track driver for First Sergeant. He and his First Sergeant got blown up in a hidden IED. That really hurt. But that was it. That's my military experience overseas. It wasn't until later when I married Norma Jean, I joined the New Jersey Air National Guard out of McGuire, and I was there for a few years. And I got a total of 6 years active duty between the Army and the Air Force. And that's it. That was my military life. So I'm just an old retired vet now, taking it one day at a time. I got more days behind me than I do in front of me, and I wake up every morning and say, "Thank you, God, for one more day." I hope you have a better life than I had. I ain't no hero.